The Rockefeller Foundation has announced a nearly $11 million grant to the UN World Food Program to help vulnerable children get better access to nutritious food through school feeding programs. The initiative aims to strengthen school meals for millions of children in Benin, Ghana, Honduras, and India. I spoke with Mehrdad Ehsani, Vice President of the Africa Food Initiative with the Rockefeller Foundation, for more insight. Take a look.
You know, school meals are the world's largest social safety net. Over 388 million of children are covered currently. We need to do a lot more. And so that's an important way to try to meet the food security and nutrition needs of children. What's important to say is that, you know, in the global south, 90% of the budgets for school meals are covered domestically. So governments are showing commitment. But we're only covering, less than half the children in the world. So we do need to up our game. We need to cover them more coverage. We need to have better quality meals. And so that implies other countries and bilateral partners need to help them.
So talk to us about how the school environment is a strategic setting to address undernutrition among children. I
mean, schools are a great way to reach children if you want to reach them en masse, rather than a dispersed approach, which is, a household approach. Also an institutional market can garner the attention of the private sector, the food processors, the supply chain as a whole. So institutional markets are not small. The world spends $45 billion a year on school meals. You can wave that as a big stick to attract attention, to say, actually, we're shifting. We want more nutritious meals. We want meals that are more homegrown. We want meals that are more sustainable and resilient. So I think school meals makes a lot of sense in building a consumer base. And definitely there will be spillover effects. Where institutional markets lead, there will be secondary markets opening up in mass markets. So I think it's an excellent way not only to reach children, but to start to shape consumption patterns. So the initiative is targeting 4 countries, India, Honduras, Ghana, and Benin. So why these 4 countries specifically? But more importantly, how will the program be implemented in such a way that empowers local providers in the value chain? So, we've tried to select countries that we felt the school feeding was at some scale, that there was domestic support to grow it, that the countries could play an influential role in sharing best practice with others. So some of these countries serve on the leading task force of the School Meals Coalition, which is a coalition of 73 countries. So if they bring that evidence to the table, we hope that that might be influential. Other countries like India, their public distribution system covers 800 million people. So there is a mix of outreach and influence and these sorts of factors that have helped us choose the initial category. But of course, this is just the initial foray. There will be much bigger plays to come. As far as the role of local providers in the value chain, the focus now is very much on the role that local procurement can play in knock-on effects for the rural development. There's a lot of evidence in other countries where this has played an extremely positive role. So this is an opportunity and a challenge. It's an opportunity of new markets for local farmers, but the challenge is we need to help these supply chains be reliable in supplying safe food at the right quantities that are needed. And so that will be a process. But ultimately, I think that's where governments are incentivized, and World Food Program, our partner, is highly committed to this. So the grant is part of the Rockefeller Foundation's Good Food Strategy. What else can you tell us about this strategy, and what can be done in general to help communities become more resilient in the long run and help themselves and feed their families and feed themselves? Yes, so for the largest part of its history, the foundation invested in fighting hunger and productivity gains. But we found a laser focus on empty calories was not the way to go. And so we have the recent Good Food Strategy. And so that focuses on nutritious, sustainable, and inclusive food. As part of your question about what can local communities do to become more resilient and food secure, I think it needs a coordinated action, both at international, national, and local level. Clearly, farmers need support to move towards more resilient crops, for example, tree crops, other kinds of grains and crops that are drought escaping. They're going to need the extension knowledge and the infrastructure that goes along with that. But I think also governments, at least in Africa where I live, they made a commitment to 10% of public finance towards agriculture. We're not achieving that. So there needs to be some more advocacy, perhaps, to make sure that that sort of support is coming so that the right infrastructure, extension systems, the right kind of food trade exists in the region. Because with climate change, we're going to find shifting surplus and deficit areas. We need to be able to move food efficiently between these surplus and deficit areas. So I think these are all part of the equation of trying to become more resilient and food secure.